Welcome back to Mosswick. Today we're saying goodbye before moving on to a brand new town, building our final monument and reflecting everything we've learned through your comments, plus an extended cinematic send-off to wrap it all up. So, let's get to work. All right, so today we say goodbye to Mosswick. It's been super fun building this city up from the beginning and starting the channel with it, so I appreciate everybody who helped get this thing going. There's a few little things I want to do before we retire Mosswick and move on to something else, so let's jump in. And first off, I want to added a couple little things over here to our new village on the side. So we got a brewery, we got a tax office going, and then I also wanted to. We also have a tailor's workshop coming in that will get going. So just a few more things to help kind of finish this little area off, so that they kind of have all their own sustained things needed. We also have a hops farm coming in, so I just kind of plop those down real quick. And then the real thing I want to do today is address this kind of open square area. And I realized that early on in the series we had built, by mistake, the belfry, and we did that kind of right downtown here. And so I think that this might be a good place to put that now. So that is actually part of the market, and I do think that it seems like it makes more sense to put somewhere like this, right in the middle. But I also think that our town square area, this little square here, is a little too small for that. I mean, I know people can get by; they don't need much space to walk around, but it just feels a little cramped. And we have this nice big area here, so I think we're gonna put this right about there. And then just so that it's not this big freestanding, let's get a door on it, so that it's not just this big freestanding thing on its own. Let's hit build. I also want to tack a few little things on. So we're also going to add a watch post on the back here, just to have something on it. We'll turn this guy to the side and raise that up a bit. And we'll get a door on here. I'm not sure why it can't snap to this side, but that's okay. And then I also, on this other side here, thought we could add nope, not another tavern. We are taverned out. Good Lord. Also add a tax office. Just something to kind of tack on here, so that there's something going on. So something like, how's that feel? Not sure about this particular building. Let's see if we splice it in a little more. No, I don't think I like that building for this. Maybe something like that. Something a little smaller. Just something subtle. There, that feels a little better. And then, actually, I don't know that this needs to be quite that tall. There we go. And then this little kind of corner area, I'm not loving. So I think what I was going to do is actually, I think we're going to switch these around. We're going to take this one and use this for what I was just talking about. And we'll put this bigger one here. I think will feel maybe a little bit more substantial. I'm going to speed time up here so that we can get this stuff built. Yeah, we'll stick that guy in there. And then I wanted to use this to kind of give us a little off angle thing. Yeah, kind of like that. Everything is so right angle in this game, and I thought it'd be fun to try to mix in something that's a little less, of a right angle. So This guy technically people can walk through this little green area, and I don't think so. You will get your own door, sir. Let's see. I think I want like a smaller door off on this side. Yeah. And then I think actually we're just going to move. We're already building. Let's see, how built are we? Can we still move this a little bit? I think we want to scoot this, not the door. I think we want to scoot this whole thing over just a touch. Right about there. There we go. And then we should be able to move this over a little bit as well. Yep, that fits that area a bit better. Oh, and then let's sneak this guy back in right about there. So that's got a door. You've got a door. Everybody gets a door. And I think we'll just bring this over a little bit more. Sweet. And now also I think we can maybe throw a chimney on right here in the back, about there. Great, let's get all of that. Tax office requires, oh. Alright, so that we won't actually have this. That's interesting that it's not. Is this not part of the oh, that's why. So this actually should be part of the tax office. There we go. I did that. Connected that to the wrong building. And let's see, which one did we use? This is not what we used last time, but I actually think I like this one a little more. Even though it clips that window, we're gonna be okay with that. And then let's see, let's just scoot this over a bit. And scoot that over a bit, and then we'll get you a door. There we go. Now, build and build. Great. All right, so while those things are building, let's do a little bit of minor detailing here. Let's get rid of some of this leftover stuff that we just kind of let hang out. This, I think we can kind of just move that back to this side of the fence and kind of move these trees to frame up this a bit better. And we can throw this guy over here, and let's actually continue that row with some more of these cypresses. And looks like we're a little offset with these, so let's just throw another one in. There we go. And we'll hit build on those, and then let's get some wall business in, kind of something like that. And let's get another little guy over here. And so they're probably going to be walking more like that. So we can kind of force their hand. Although I kind of like that angle, actually, to be honest. It's okay if they, kind of come like this and then head out that way. Yeah. Sweet. So that stuff was getting built nicely. I also wanted to get a little bit of detail in over here. So we have this new brewery. I think that this fence we can extend. Let's see. I don't want to cut off this road too much, so we'll just extend out to about here. And then kind of fill in like that. And then I wanted to divide these two properties a bit. I think closing stuff into their own little areas, I think makes sense. So boom. And we'll do the same just kind of with our tavern area. Kind of just bring this over like that. So I think that'll help this stuff feel nice and organized. And then now that we have our hops farm is finished, let's get some folks working on it. And to make sure that these fields are separated, let's kind of just wrap this one in its own fence. Oh boy. I got a little funky. Come on, let's just bring you around kind of like that. And we'll round this one out as well. Okay, and then let's get our crop field planted and built. So we'll just get that in there. And that is an adequate size, apparently. Now it's too large. And come on. That's too large for 3 workers, really? There we go. All right. So that's all working out. And let's get ourselves some tailors. We only have 2, I guess, right now. And let's see, we can probably upgrade some folks. Yep, we have some new jobs. Make sure that we're maintaining our highest levels of residence. And I wish maybe you can sort this. Is that a thing you can do? Nope. You should be able to sort this by just people that need to get upgraded at the top instead of having to scroll down through 500 people. And then we'll also get a few of our commoners upgraded to citizens. And is that just those 2 for now? Yes. And we can get a couple of monk folk going. Great. Oh, all right. So that's feeling pretty good. And then let's see if this is still building out, or is this done? Oh, that's almost done. A couple of quick things I wanted to go over, just kind of a recap, I think, from a few things that we learned throughout this build. Some real simple things like using Alt to rotate buildings that you're, as you're placing them, so that you can hold Shift down and place a bunch in order to not have to select it every time. Things like double clicking on full buildings, things that you build like these, double clicking on here so that when you actually want to move the whole thing, you're not just moving this one building. I did this for the longest time where I would just drag this, but if you off click up here and double click, you see how it grabs everything connected, and then you can move larger structures. That was something that it took a little long for me to figure out. Things like what we've talked about a lot lately is really over segregating your warehouses and granaries. I think that's something I'm really going to try to focus on in the next map. Things like learning that our taverns can only have 1 service counter per tavern. I think that's a little unrealistic and silly, because I think obviously going to a bar and only being able to order 1 drink is a little weird, but it is what it is. Things like having our patrol towers or our watch posts being smaller and more frequent rather than big and having a bunch of workers that kind of are patrollers that all go and group up. So these are the kind of things that I think we learned going through, and hopefully you guys have learned some stuff too. Things like having way more sawmills and way more charcoal huts than you'd think. They're stuff you go through really quick, and it's better to overstock that stuff than have to scramble and wait for it or buy it from another town when you're trying to expand and you don't have the things you need. So really keeping an eye on those things, I think, is all stuff that at least I learned. I'm sure plenty of you guys played the early access. I played it briefly many years ago, but didn't really jump in this much until the full release. So that kind of stuff was all new to me. Things like, putting your builders' huts close to their resources rather than close to the thing you want to build. They're going to have to go back and forth to grab the materials they need anyway, so you might as well have them go from here to here and then off to the place you're building and back, rather than putting this building hut way out here and then having them have to make these huge back and forth trips. So unless you can build, a warehouse first in like a whole new area, if you're going to build a little town like this out here, I probably should have had a warehouse with a bunch of materials in it before we started building, and that probably would have helped building go a bit faster. So let's try to think of just other little things that you guys have helped me learn. I learned that the road pavers, the road pavement actually deteriorates, and so I was not getting that much progress made on paving because I only had one paver's hut, thinking that they were just going to go through, pave everything, and then move on. And really, they spent more time maintaining the stuff that we already had paved rather than paving anything new. So, that was something that I learned as well. A big one you guys might remember when I used the mandates from the monastery and the castle to invite a bunch of new people in. Well, castle people only invite militia, and monastery emissaries only invite, people who can be monks. And also that the bailiff only invites people to town who are commoners, not serfs. So I had a bunch of people that I invited that I didn't really have jobs for when I really needed mostly serfs. The serfs only come organically, like the guys I just added. So again, all things that I had not really figured out except for comments and trial and error. And we finished our belfry here, so we're gonna invite someone to stay a few weeks because now our town is fancy. So sweet, I guess. Let's do that, even though we're probably not gonna hang around long enough to see any benefits from that, or even see if they come and are happy. You can things like I kept getting things about not having enough kind of luxury items. Luxury items aren't just jewelry. They're things like herbs, and wax and candles and stuff. So that was something I kept assuming for whatever reason, that luxury kind of only meant jewelry, but it also just means like fancy food things. So those were other things that were really helpful to learn. So I hope you guys learned a lot from this series and had some fun. And I know this is kind of a shorter episode, but I wanted to do a quick little send off for this town that I think helped get this channel started and hopefully brought a lot of you guys in. And I appreciate all of the comments and the likes and the views and getting this channel kicked off. And I know that the frequency of the Mosswick videos has slowed down, or the Foundation videos, both, I guess, has slowed down a bit, but that's kind of because I wasn't totally sure where to go with this town, feeling like we kind of covered a lot of stuff. So I think it's time to move on and I can get excited about something new. I think a new map will have a little more river and hopefully a little more height, variation. I really loved building this area on these hills. I think is awesome. So we'll get some rivers coming through our next map. I feel like we didn't really utilize the coastline as much as we could have. I'm not sure if just a wall right here makes the most sense, but also maybe it keeps invaders or whoever out at bay a bit, just kind of walled off. But yeah, I just don't feel like we really use the coastline as much as we could, and it's harder to use creatively for building. I think rivers will give us a chance for bridges, and hopefully maybe some hills will also give us a chance for some land bridges. And we can get a little more verticality and, you know, kind of get more of these kind of looming areas that are kind of have some height difference. So I think that'll be fun. So yeah, thanks a lot. Appreciate everything. I'm going to leave you guys with a bit of an extended cinematic in this episode so that we can kind of, you know, revisit all the stuff we've built and have a good send off for Mosswick. So thanks so much. Appreciate everything. And we will see you guys in the next town. Thanks. Bye.